Well, Matt, first of all, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you're looking forward to the Leeds Legend match in a couple of weeks' time now. Firstly, obviously, it's a bit unique, I suppose, playing a non-league legend team against a star-studded side of former Leeds United players. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Have you seen how the ex-Leeds players are looking these
Yeah,
days?
to be fair.
No, I'll be honest with you. I've played in a few now, and the fantastic days. Get to see old teammates or even sort of lads that you used to watch as a Leeds fan, and it's mad, and you all just get together, and you're in that changing room again, and if someone's got a bad shirt on or someone's got some bad trainers on, they're straight on you. It's just going back into the changing room. It's really good fun, and there are always days. Hopefully we get a nice crowd there. I'm sure we will, and they're just fun days. You play as as well as you can, still thinking you can still play like you could 20 years ago. But really, you've got to realise that you can basically pass the ball now 5-10 yards maximum. Them sort of diags that you try ain't getting there anymore. But no, we're looking forward to it. Started to try and do a little bit of running now on the treadmill just to get the old legs and hamstrings moving again. So yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, and obviously those games you mentioned there, it's very much players. Some of them have still been playing, like so David Norris is one who's still actually playing himself. A few of us, like yourself, being retired a few years now. I think more than anything, it's always going to be a good laugh, but particularly here in Whitby, quite a big Leeds following there. So hopefully that'll draw a few extra names through as well.
Well, that's it. Yeah, yeah. You go wherever you go, you see Leeds fans are everywhere, aren't they? You remember going on holiday to, these destinations. You think, oh, and then there's a Leeds fan there with a Leeds shirt on. You're like, what the hell? It's mental. But yeah, Whitby, lovely place. I go there with the kids still, and just a nice area, and love the football. The people from around there, and I'm sure these the Whitby vets will be bang up for this game, I'm sure. I hope there's not too many young lads playing in it because we can't catch them anymore. But now the fantastic days and, make a bit of money for the club. That's what we're there for. It means a lot to the clubs as much as you can for them. It helps, clubs like Whitby and other teams out a lot, doesn't it? And they're just getting people through and, getting Whitby Town out there as well, playing against Leeds United, get some good coverage over it. And I'll 100% it'll be a great day, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then obviously we're just going to look at your time at Leeds. It was pretty much where
Yeah.
your career started, wasn't it? I'm sure you got plenty of fond memories from there. Sort of in a couple of minutes, really. What would you say were your sort of your highlights from your Leeds United days?
Yeah, well, I moved there as soon as I finished school. I moved into the hostel there and lived on site for 2 years, and and had some great times then as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old living away from home with other Irish lads, Welsh lads, Scottish lads, all in this sort of like hostel. It was amazing and good times. But yeah, I'd have to go with my. Well, obviously probably the phone call I got saying I was going on loan to West Ham. That was something I remember well. As a young lad, no sat nav back then. By the way, I had to find my own way in a Ford Puma that took me at least 3 days to get there. Do you know what I mean? It was,
Yeah.
I just headed south and just kept going basically. And my time there made me grow up, fast, living on my own, and being down south, very different to where I was living at the time. And but I'd have to say the shout of Terry Venables saying, "Get your shin pads and get your boots on, son. You're coming on. Lucas Radaby's coming off." And my debut in the UEFA Cup. That was my probably biggest memory, and thinking this is your time, take it. You don't get many, and you make a first impression. And I went on and did well, and just never looked back. Really, just kept trying to be positive, and every time I got my opportunity, try and take it.
Yeah, and obviously those were sort of the heavy days for Leeds, if you like, weren't really enjoying themselves. A few hard moments, obviously back now in the Premier League again.
Yeah.
I think as looking from the outside, looks like they've recruited well. How do you feel they're sort of gonna get on? Because you obviously you know all too well the potential to get back up there is there. It's hard these days, but do you feel looking from the outside there's a good chance that the Whites can have a good season?
Yeah, I mean, they've got Everton in the first game this season at Ellen Road, and I think from the very off, this is a real crucial game.
Yeah.
It's a game where points have to be picked up. the first, year back in the Premier League, it's about trying to stay in it. And you've almost got to look for a little mini league at the people you've got beat really around you to stay up there. And then hopefully, the year after and stay in for more, then you can start trying to climb that table. But it's important that Leeds United stay up. They have got some really good players in that league. They were fantastic in the Championship. I do the lounges at Ellen Road, and every game, a home game, they blew teams out of the water, to be honest, far superior. But that Premier League's a different beast, I'm afraid. And they have got players in there that can play in the Premier League. There's no doubt about that. But they still need players to join them, and they need some good ones. They need ones that can go straight in and play in the Premier League and play at Ellen Road week in, week out. It isn't easy there. I've seen a lot of top players go there and sort of not do what they thought everyone was going to do. But exciting time, especially Leeds United. I mean, it is buzzing round, Leeds and areas around it. It's an absolute buzz that Leeds United are back in there. And I think everyone's quite happy that Leeds United are back in, to be honest. Everyone I seem to speak to always go, oh, I'm glad they're back in. And then the old haters after about a month of us being back in, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? But I still think there's 3 or 4 signings, Liam, they need to bring in. But the squad is youthful and it seems to have a good changing room as well, with Farker in charge as well. Who knows? I hope he does well. His record isn't great when he's gone up in the Premier League, so hopefully he's learned from his mistakes before and hit the ground running.
Yeah, definitely seems positive signs anyway. Just to your career now. So you've referenced there going to West Ham, and then I don't know how this one went down at the time when you moved from Leeds United to Sheffield United. I'm sure that was a bit of a maybe not quite as bad as going to Wednesday, perhaps, but again, really another club where you've really made a name for yourself.
Yeah, it was like you say. Then you mentioned earlier, just ups and downs at Leeds United at that time. Leeds United were in the Premier League when I was a young lad, and the probably reason why I did get my chance at Leeds United was because Leeds United got relegated. And I know that sounds crazy to say that, but it was, in front of me at the time when I was in the in the hostel coming through. Rio Ferdinand, Woodgate, Matteo, top centre halves. I was nowhere near them boys, so. That was the reason probably why I got in, and then we lost in the playoffs. It was ups and downs, and Leeds United with the money situation with Ken Bates, no one really knew what was going on, and I think I was probably on the saleable asset that they had. I'd never asked to leave Leeds United. That's all I knew, to be honest. But Sheffield United came in, Premier League, and do you know what? It's a fantastic club. I'll be honest with you. I love my time there as well. The people, I did get a bit of stick for going there. But I'm sure it's all forgiven now. I had to do, and I didn't have much say in it anyway. But I wanted to go play in the Premier League also. But it's hard when you're younger as well, isn't it? You always think where to go. But do you know what? When I went to Sheffield, I had an amazing time there, and played some good football. Played over 100 times for them, and not a bad word. I still look out for the results. I still go and watch them now and again, to be honest. So. And they were unlucky. I thought they'd go up, I'll be honest, from the playoffs, but just missed out, and Sunderland did it.
Yeah, crazy game, that one.
Mad.
Your former clubs, them as well, weren't they? It did feel that they were going to, be the team that were going to go up through those playoffs in the end. But football's a bit of a strange game, as you know well. Obviously moving on from there, veteran Sunderland there, a couple of loans, Middlesbrough, Doncaster in there as well, and then you've sort of gone to clubs like Blackburn, Bradford City as well. All very, a lot about obviously Blackburn and Lancashire, but the Yorkshire clubs in particular.
Yeah.
Like there sort of seems a theme that the fans always appreciate you. Did you feel that carried on throughout your rest of your career?
Yeah, do you know what? I was very lucky. You look at a lot of the lads' careers, and there's a lot of moving. They can be, Plymouth, and then it could be in Middlesbrough. And I was quite lucky of, being in a place where I was settled, where I lived, where I could drive, 50 minutes, an hour. I was never too far away. So I was lucky in that regard. But yeah, I think every club I went to, I tried to do my best, and I tried to get along with the fans and do your bit and always be polite and, autographs and just what I've always brought up to be told to do, So I always had quite a good relationship with fans. So maybe it was something that maybe got passed along that, I was an all right lad and, would always try my best. So, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and then a spell in Scotland, a spell in India as well. How did you find it playing over there? I'm sure very different footballing culture is what you were used to.
Yeah, maybe not as northern as I thought. That was the end of my career. I did have to move. Yeah, I went to Hamilton in the Scottish Premier League, and what I spoke about earlier, Liam, with the sort of mini league that Leeds United might have with the teams around them. That was what it was with Hamilton. It was basically trying to keep the team up. They're a very small club in that, um, but great people there, by the way. Really good Scottish humour, good lads, good people there. But it was about trying to stay in the league, and our games were against like Dundee, St Mirren, teams like that. Your Celtic and your Rangers. We were lucky to touch the ball, to be honest. We were just trying to keep it down, but we stayed up in that season, so job was done. And some good people there. I still speak to some of the Scottish lads. You think as an English lad going up there, how they're going to take to you. You think I'm big time, Charlie, all that. And I tell you what, we got on like an house on fire with the lads there. Had a great time. The Scottish patter and all that was good. So, yeah. And then India, Phil Brown was in charge and was coming to the end of my career and didn't know really what to do and just fancied it. And Phil Brown took me. I had a great relationship with him. He was a really good lad. And we were in brand new team there. So it was quite hard. We got sort of, I think all the teams had been picked and the Indian players had been picked. So we didn't have the strongest of Indian sort of players there. So it was tough and you could only sort of play, I think it was 4 or 5 foreign lads in every game. So it was a bit of a struggle, but great experience. But then Hyderabad have actually gone on now, and as the years have gone on, I think they won it maybe last year or year before. So I'm glad to see that Hyderabad are doing well as well.
Yeah, and just going to touch on there as well. The manager you referenced there, Phil Brown. He always came across as quite the character. What was he? What was he like to work under and play?
Do you know what? Not a bad word said about him. Like you say, I was older and he looked after the older lads. You've got to remember it, 90 odd degrees sometimes training there. And every day, training, he'd be like, how are you feeling? What do you want to do? What do you need to do? And just, understood, but then wanted back from us almost looking after the Indian younger lads. You know what I mean? So he gave us a yard, but always said, listen, you're in the changing room all the time. I need you and Giles Barnes or this Marco to look after the Indian lads and make sure they're all right. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we did, and it worked well.
Yeah, and then just finally, I remember this when this training signing came around. Sorry, going to Buxton, who at the time in the same league as
Yeah,
Whitby find themselves in now. I remember a bit of a not a stir as such, but a lot of people within the league were talking, thinking, big name coming down to this level
yeah,
of football. Your spell there was brief, but how did you find playing in a non-league football? Quite a bit of an eye
yeah.
opener, perhaps.
No, do you know what it was? It was. I think I came back from India and we went into lockdown. I think,
Yeah,
and then we
2020.
came out of lockdown the first time, and I think Buxton asked if I'd want to come. Now I might be wrong here, and at the time because we went into lockdown, I didn't actually know what I was going to do. I was probably 36 then. What was I going to do? Who wants you? I've had a bit of time out through. I've been to India, then I've come back, and then no one's played any football for a while. Who's going to take me? And Buxton just came in and said, "Listen, you can, train once a week. Come play for us. We've got a good setup. We want to go up and win the league.
Yeah.
You have to come in on a Tuesday, play on a Saturday." And went to see the facilities, seeing the guys. I thought, you know what? I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah.
So I played with them, played every game, and I think we were second in the league, first, second, and then it went into lockdown again, didn't it?
Yeah. Okay. It was a
I
very
think it went
short
into
season.
lockdown again, and then it came back, and I was just like, they said, "Do you want to keep going?" I was like, I think this was like 3 months out. I was like, "Do you know what? I'm going to call it now." Do you know what I mean? It was just a mad one, but for that time we were flying. We were flying in the league, we were having a great time. We are doing really well. We had some really good players at Buxton. Some lads that should have been playing higher, in my opinion, just needed a little bit of a chance. You know what I mean? But so if I've got that story wrong, so I can't quite remember. It was to do with lockdown where it sort of like finished there, and then I just finished my career then in lockdown. Really, sort of getting to 37 years old, I thought, I think that's time now. But no, yeah, it's. Do you know what? He actually rang me. I can't remember what the manager's called now. I don't think he's still there now. But I'd been
Wasn't
out.
wasn't no, was it before Cunningham even? Because he's I know Steve
I
Cunningham
can't
was there.
remember it
That might have
was.
been before him, possibly.
Could have been. And do you remember when they got in the FA Cup? The FA
Yeah, a
Cup
few years
game?
ago, had a decent run a
And
few
it was
years.
on telly. It was
Yeah.
on telly.
Oh, that was Cunningham. Yeah, he's at Ashton now. And
Cunningham, yeah. Great guy. And he just rang me and went, Killer, do you fancy playing in this game? I was like, what? He says, I've got no centre halves. I hadn't really kicked a ball in anger for 4 months. It's like, and he's like, it's live on Sky. I was like, mate, I can't. I would love to, but you just can't do it now. You couldn't, the lads would kill me 4 months without playing. But I can remember him ringing me. He was like, I need you. I was like, mate, I'd let you down. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? I'll come just to go and go on Sky again.
yeah, that's it.
But I tell you what, I will let you down. It was just mad. I can remember in the kitchen just be like, my wife was like, I put it on loudspeaker. She was like, "What?" I was like, "No," yeah, but no, good times there, mate.
Yeah, and I'm sure in a way it sort of prepares you nicely. Look back to what we were chatting about tonight. It brings you nicely to that game against Whitby Town Legends. A very similar sort of style of play, perhaps. I'm sure the physicality was something you'd become accustomed to playing a football league. I'm sure, but particularly at non-league, it really seems to be more prominent, perhaps.
100%, mate. There's, you go down the leagues and there is some really good players there still, but there's a lot of people who really, want to do better, and they're out there giving 120%, and they're flying into tackles. They want to be physical. They want to impress, and I'd do exactly the same if I was there. Do you know what I mean? At that sort of age, and they're just hungry lads, and a game, and it was different. More like you say, at the same end of my career, that sort of came into the game with a lot of passing, not as many goalkeepers kicking it out. But when I went to Buxton, especially India as well, before, and then I went to Buxton, that was like, right, squeeze up, lads, this is getting launched. And it was back to, the old days going up for headers and that. But yeah, like you say, I was used to it. But yeah, it was physical. It was physical, but good battles, good battles.
Yeah, and then just to finish, obviously looking at the Leeds United side for the day, are there any
Yeah.
players in the side that you perhaps played with before or have seen playing other Legends matches that you think have really
Yeah,
got it as
I've
a
played.
footballing?
I've played in a few charity games. To be honest, I'm trying to think who's there now. It's Carlton Palmer's there, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's involved now. Yeah, he was a bit.
Carlton Palmer. Played with him. I've played with most of them. Can you name them out there? Who's there? Have you got
We
them?
can have a. I know
Is Beckford there?
he was on the list. Michael Bridges, of course. I know he's
Bridgie, yeah,
out
do the
there.
lounge with
Nicky
Bridgie.
Gray, I
He's a
think,
good
played
lad.
in there. Ian Hart, and there's quite a few good names in
Harty,
there. It's
yeah,
just I suppose I'll
played with
have to
more.
see if they can still do it.
Yeah, no, mate, there's some good names on there. Really good names. Harty. Yeah, like you say, I need a few lads who are still playing though as well.
Yeah.
To just keep our legs going. But it'll be all fun. I'm sure Whitby Legends will be saying the same as well. I hope they're not too young and all that. But it'll be good. It'll be a good crack.
Yeah, well, Matt, thank you for joining us. Date for your diary, if you haven't already got your tickets, Sunday the 3rd of August, 2 o'clock kickoff here. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. Get ready for it. Up nice and early to bed, night before.
Yeah.
Back to the old days of preparing for a proper game. So be all good.
Yeah,
so get your tickets and get down, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us, Matt.
Cheers, Liam. Top man. Thank you, mate.